Present.
Carolyn,
Present.
Tom,
Present.
Bob,
Present.
Todd.
Present. Any comments from the visitors? Yes, Dave? Just remember, it's 3 minutes, one topic per person.
I wanted to address the issue of the town road east of Stad. And this is from the residents and property owners of Elm Tree that live on Elm Tree Road. Road repairs need to be addressed. We have numerous potholes and chip seal that needs to be updated and repaired. All traffic using Elm Tree Road is two-way traffic. In other words, it's a dead end, so you go down there, you gotta come out that way. We have numerous farm vehicles, milk trucks, fertilizer trucks, seed trucks, spray trucks, going to a long-established operating farm and long-established residences, as well as the garbage and recycling truck and UPS truck. I'm wondering whether the board, I know when I was a member of the board, we addressed the long-term needs of the township. And at many budget hearings and annual meetings, I addressed the board saying by ratcheting that mill rate down, we wouldn't have money in the budget to do what we're supposed to do, and that's keep up the infrastructure. So in front of you, I want to know what your plan is and how you're going to budget for the next year. It's signed by all residents and property owners on that section of Elm Tree.
Anyone else? Moving on to approving the town board meeting minutes for May 25th, 2022. Need a motion?
So moved. A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the board meeting minutes for May 25th, 2022. Any further discussion? Since there is none, let's vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Minutes approved. Reports. Dorothy?
You have our unapproved minutes. We didn't see any supervisors at our last plan commission meeting. You're supposed to rotate yourselves so that one does show up at our meetings, but that's up to you guys. I did contact the Towns Association, and until it is a board approved to submit unapproved minutes to permit all of this stuff, it's not legal. Per Towns Association, I can get the email to all of you guys if you'd like to see it.
So
What did you say? I'm sorry. I can't
what
remember.
exactly is not legal, ma'am?
Pardon?
What are you saying exactly is not legal?
Because you're putting out things that have not been verified,
Board approved.
board approved.
You can't put a draft, just put draft
You
on
could
it?
put draft on them, you could put unapproved, which you'll note that ours do say unapproved.
Uh-huh.
And when ours are approved, then we always make sure that the clerk always gets a copy. But the Towns Association says until it is a actual board action to submit this stuff, it's a no-go.
What specifically are you addressing?
Pardon?
What specifically are you?
The email that you sent, that you and Rod had conferred and decided that it worked better to get in your, i.e., your unapproved or approved minutes, so you've got.
I was just asking for what you were gonna report on, so.
We always report on whatever our agenda item is.
So that's all I asked for. I didn't ask for any minutes. So like if you look at Carolyn's building and grounds report,
I can pull up the note, and you do put in the fact that it's, unapproved minutes.
okay, so basically whatever you're going to report on was really what I asked for.
But, we've never had to submit that, never. All the years that I have been coming to meetings, it's never been like this. We always give our report and answer any questions that you have.
I think it's usually been, in my remembrance here, that it was communicated to the board, what you had, some way or other, that what you had discussed and what have you. And somehow or other, the papers, the copies of the papers have gone to the board, or should have gone to the board before the meeting, correct? I think we have
No,
done
never
that.
done that.
We never give out any unapproved minutes. Never have.
As you shouldn't.
No.
But the board meant like the meeting minutes from the last meeting, they're in the packet to be approved tonight.
They don't approve
No,
plan
They
commission
don't plan
meetings.
our meetings. We're a separate entity. Same as the fire department is a separate entity.
They still have to do a report though, and the report still gets to the clerk before the meeting. And that's all it is, it's a report.
But what it amounts to is the board has never put that in place, okay? Plan commission has never sent a report to the clerk to be put into the agenda. It's never happened before. So until you
Highway
guys,
commission never did.
yeah, nobody ever did.
Then why did the fire department have to,
I don't
for like
know.
the last
said they
10,
did?
15 years?
I don't know.
Who did? Who told you you had to? I didn't. You guys just brought them up. The board needs to put it on the agenda if that's what they want.
If that's your
And
wishes to
approve
do
it.
it. But, I mean, I have no problem answering any questions about what the plan commission is up to. That's,
I guess the problem is, and it's not, it's a huge problem, but the thing is when you bring it at the meeting right now, and we have to go down 5 line items, and then we have to vote on it, if we actually have questions or things that we wanna think about, there's no time to do that.
but that would only pertain to if there was a resolution, and then we would always tell you whether we approved a resolution, even though we would not have passed those minutes. But we always pass those on to the board for your next meeting, because yours follows ours. And we've always told you, if we vote to pass,
And so
whatever
you cannot
the-
make that just a draft across it and to give to us?
But the unapproved
Until it
minutes.
is a board, complete board approved item. But it's never been this way, and all of a sudden we have this. And I mean,
I guess
I
I
thought-
didn't view the request as a requirement to bring
Pardon?
some. I didn't view the request as a requirement
Oh,
to have it,
well,
just looking
I
for
can-
the information if it was available.
Mhm.
I can.
I mean, normally you just do a verbal report.
Right, that's what we've always done.
Yeah, and I think her request was just if you had something in writing, she was gonna put it in the packet. If not, that's.
I mean, this packet gets a little,
So the origin of the request is this. So the night that you presented, you had a very lengthy list and good information that you wanted to communicate. I can't possibly capture that during the meeting. So it was just like, if you have something, it's helpful for me to be able to put it in the packet. It's helpful for the board to be able to see it before the meeting. So to me, it's a benefit for everyone. It's not, we're not asking.
but what you're putting in yours is our verbal, which will come out as soon as we approve our minutes. It'll go directly to you, so you'll have a copy. I mean, Bruce is very good about taping and doing good minutes.
Does he send them right away?
As soon as they're approved, yes, oh yes.
But you can't approve them until the
We
following
don't
month.
approve them till the following meeting, correct.
So
And same as you guys are not gonna approve tonight's minutes, but they will be posted out there within 5 days, am I right?
They're not supposed to be until they're
and they're
approved.
unapproved.
They're supposed to be posted in draft format within 5 days.
Then they need to be marked in draft form, because what's gonna happen one of these days is somebody's gonna take a copy of that, and they're gonna figure those are the actual minutes. And then you're gonna have an issue if there was any corrections ever made. So unless they're marked draft or unapproved, you could end up with some real problems down the road.
I just followed what the previous clerk had. In my previous township, all of my minutes went out with drafts, so I understand that. But I'm just following what has been given to me. So, I don't.
And we can do this, and I get what you're saying. But for me, the packet I got ahead of time was very helpful because there was a lot of information in it. And I had a chance to sit down and read it on my time before I got to this meeting. And it was very helpful because the packet is thick. There's a lot of stuff in here. So, I mean, I think that's where it was coming from, so that we had time to get on top of things before we come in here and sit a half hour before the meeting, 15 minutes before the meeting, and burst through everything. Honestly, I think that's,
But I see no problem with you getting your information. Is it coming out on Friday? Is that when you get it?
No, not this time I didn't.
Came out when?
That's what we're shooting for, is Friday.
That's the goal is Friday.
I'm just telling you, I contacted Town Association and they said until it's a board approved
And
recommendation.
But didn't you also say that they said that if it was marked draft, that was okay?
Mine says unapproved, you will note that.
Right, so I mean,
But
that's, but.
I looked at the ones out here on the board.
Putting
They were-
it
they were
marked
from-
unapproved in the packet is okay, that's acceptable?
The ones that were sitting out here from the annual meeting were not marked as unapproved.
Okay. I don't think that we're talking about that, I think that we're talking about whether or not we can include the plan commission unapproved minutes in the packet,
If
right?
it is a board decision, it's a whole board that makes this decision.
Okay.
And then, that pertains to all entities. So, any questions on plan commission? Is there a copy of our ordinance book in the town hall?
I brought it over
Okay,
here.
good.
I sent
I'll come down someday, I will let you know when I'm going to be in because it cannot leave the building, they're not supposed to.
You will need to coordinate a time where I can be there.
Right, I have that, because there's probably I spent 4 hours on the internet the other day reading it, and my eyes are shot. There's a lot of information that will go into the packet that we will present to the board, so that there's a good, solid checklist in case we do get any more subdivisions.
If you print it, that's that.
Pardon?
If you print it, that check, this is all of it.
No, so,
She don't have a printer, so town could supply her.
I can give you the sections that we need to cover on there.
yeah, that would be great, because I've got pages written down that we have to, because I'm gonna have to make copies for all of the plan commissioners.
So now, going back to what you said at the very beginning, what was your report that you had for us? Again?
It's our minutes, the unapproved minutes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anything else with plan commission? Garbage recycling, Bob?
I didn't make it to the last meeting, quarterly meeting for the recycle board because we had our special town board meeting at 7 night. And I had requested that Deb send me the summary of what the business was, and I haven't received that yet. I did get contacted by a resident of Deer Run Avenue for garbage and recycle containers, and I contacted Waste Management for those. It's been taking almost 2 weeks for them to get cans to deliver to people, so Dale finally replied to me last week and said that they would have them this week, so it's, you know, if anybody's new to the area and needs a garbage can or wants that extra recycle, it's taken like 2 weeks to get them. So it's not you can't expect to just call and it'll be there later this week. It's not gonna happen. It's a slow process right now. That's all I have.
So we need to get better with when the building permits or the,
If somebody's
Fire
building and
scientific
expecting
route.
to have recycle or garbage, as soon as they get a fire number up or something, they wanna get a hold of us and let us know, it's gonna take 2 weeks to get containers. I would allow 3.
John, library?
Yeah, so I met with Joe Porter, the library director, prior to their meeting last month to get him on board onto the library board. One item of note from the board meeting was that the board voted to recommend approval of a 2% wage increase for library staff, which is the amount the city staff will receive also. So there's another meeting this week, Thursday.
I have a question. John, have they been working on that new contract yet for the library?
Yeah, I sent it to Tanya this evening.
What's that?
I sent it to Tanya.
Is that the one that they're gonna be sending to the attorney, hopefully?
Um,
It's a new contract with the library, correct? Town McMillan and the library?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so that you didn't give to, I know they're supposed to be working on one.
Oh, I don't know. She sent me the contract for 2022, but it
Yeah,
didn't
this
sound
is
like it
just-
was new or anything.
That's just a renewal?
It's just the amount of the, what's due.
They're working on a new contract. Their attorney is supposed to be working on that, and then they're gonna give it to McMillan. And then my advice would be to have our attorney look at it before signing anything or approving anything, so.
Okay.
Town library?
Buildings and grounds, sorry.
Oh, buildings and grounds, sorry. Mrs. Opens.
Okay, we have 17 rentals scheduled, 6 have already been completed. The concrete has been poured on the east side of the pavilion around the heating and cooling connections. Water compressor in the town hall has been replaced by Rigel Plumbing. We asked for 2 estimates and only Rigel could do the work as soon as possible. Shriners could not give us any time frame at all. Mowing, weeding, spraying, or full spraying, a new contract. I'm just trying to write up something new that, because I can't find any of the documentation of the costs in the office, so, or
The bill.
Tanya can't. So, Casey and I are working on it, and so, he has provided the new insurance copy. Black dirt has been put in around the water connections and in the trench to the town hall. New sand is needed for the playground and the sandbox. New volleyball net is needed. New ash bucket for the outdoor grill by the pavilion has been, I purchased that. More landscaping with mulch and flowers needed. Until we know where we sit financially, we're very hesitant, I'm very hesitant to move forward until I know what money we have.
So it's in your packet.
It's in there now?
Yeah, so you guys all got a budget last meeting. It just wasn't in the QuickBooks format where you're comparing budget to actual because it had not been set up by the prior clerk. So I set it up, so it's in your packet.
Okay, thank you.
So, and then, one thing to note for the parks is that I will be asking the board to transfer the $800, from the last month's deposits from the regular checking account to the parks account. So you'll have $800 more,
Okay.
plus than what you
Plus
gave to Bob
The more,
tonight.
the others, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Oh, and we just developed a new, a problem in that one of the toilets doesn't work, and so we're going to have that fixed as soon as we can get it done. And then I'm meeting with O'Donnell tomorrow to learn how to run the lock. So we'll go from there. That's it.
Thank you.
No time.
I have to kind of repeat where Carolyn left off there as far as money and doing things until I know exactly where we're at. I hesitated doing a couple things this month because of that. We do have the numbers now. So in short term, the Winterberry Circle is gonna get started here within the next week or two. And I know I said that 2 weeks ago, but I just hesitated because of not knowing where we're sitting. I was not comfortable. So now we have those numbers, we can at least look at them and go forward with that. Dust control, I talked to Pat, we're gonna get that scheduled this week. We're looking at later this month or early next month for dust control, if we can get it in. We'll talk to them and see what they have to say. I got a large map printed of the township. I got some highlighters. I did not get a chance to actually stop and talk to Pat today. I stopped by once, he wasn't in the shop. This map is going to be, we're going to highlight by color what the road limits are in the township so that we can put it on our website. So we'll sit down, we'll go through each road and highlight whatever road's at what limit, and then we'll get it on the website.
Tom, I have a question on that. So do
Yes.
the weight limits change year to year, or are they the same every year? So like, I live on Deer Run, let's say that this year there's a 500-pound limit. Next year, could it be 1,000 or 250, or is it always 500? Or is that pretty consistent?
It's pretty consistent, yes it is,
Okay.
unless there's issues going on with the road.
And then the second question is, are they on or off, or do they go from like?
Some stay on.
But I mean, like, so, but it doesn't go like 25%, 50%, 100%, like it's just on or off?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think I found a pretty neat solution to do it online,
Okay.
like using Google Maps. So similar to what you're gonna do with the highlighters, I'll do it on a computer.
Okay.
So like, so yours doesn't even have to be that pretty, because I'll just take what you have, what you give me, and then I'll like trace it in Google Maps and then put it up there. So,
Okay.
but I'm pretty excited that I was able to find a pretty good solution that should be
Very cool.
useful and easy. And like the trucking companies can use this map. Like they can put in their starting and ending address and then they can see what stuff that they're gonna.
And that's exactly what
I think
they
it's gonna
want.
work out. Yeah, it's gonna work out pretty neat. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to get that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, but we will get you that very shortly.
Okay.
Okay. I did make, at a request, a call to Red Rock Granite about the Shell Rock Sandfill bid. And I did talk to the secretary, which gave me to Scott. Scott said that he did not feel comfortable answering the question, so he gave me Adam Cross's number. And I have left a message with Adam Cross regarding the situation and asked for him to call me back. I have not heard from Adam Cross at this time yet. I also had a phone call from a resident yesterday afternoon about ATVs, and I kind of figured this was gonna happen. It really isn't a big surprise. As we know, on E, it's closed from basically Marshfield up to Elm Tree Road, okay? So I drove down today and actually looked for signs. And there's two signs up here. There's one going north that says it's open and one going south that says it's closed. And there's one on Man, or just before Man, saying that closed to ATV traffic. That's all the signs there are on E posted going into it or out of it. So I made a phone call today. The phone call from the resident wasn't a complaint.
It was from me. I had the UTVs going past my house, and I was just curious on if they could go on E at all. That was my question. Because I had 6 or 8 of them heading towards E, or what was it, yesterday, 4 or 5. Saturday was 6, 8 of them. They're all headed down to E, they're not coming back. So they're going down to E, I don't know if they're going to Walmart or where the hell they're going. But I just wanted to know if they could, because I wasn't sure on that,
Right.
so.
So, it wasn't really a complaint, it was just more informational. But from that, we discussed, I would have some phone calls to make. And sitting thinking about that yesterday afternoon, I thought, maybe the first phone call I should make would be that Chris Dickerson is the representative that came here and brought this up to us. So he is the one that actually called today. And I did not get through to him, but I did leave a lengthy message with him on the situation, taking his advice, whether do we put signs going into E, and who would be responsible for that, you or us? Or do we just call the county sheriff's department and have them patrol that? I didn't want to do that right away. I thought we should at
We
least
only
give
have-
them the
I
opportunity.
would think County E would be signage by the county.
I would guess so. I want to talk to them.
There's
I wanna-
only 2
I wanna
roads,
hear
we got
what he
Felton
says.
and Roman. That's
Yeah,
it.
but we have roads coming the other way too. All those roads coming up from the other direction.
But they gotta get access that from Man, don't they? Which ones are you talking about?
No, I'm talking like Hadamir and
Mhm.
Dragonfly and.
Oh, from the other side of
Oh,
E
yeah,
over
the
there,
other side coming
okay.
this way.
Yeah,
So I just want to bounce it off him first. I didn't want to get the police involved, seeing it wasn't a complaint, it was more informational. So this is informational. I hope he'll give me a call back. I will follow up if he doesn't call me in a day or two with another phone call. But that's where that one's at.
Yeah, I'll bet they didn't adequately sign E, given the amount of.
I was actually surprised the first one coming up E it wasn't far from Man Road. It was posted on the east side of the road. I was surprised it was that far out, but that's what I have.
Pat put up those signs.
Nope, not those.
Those are
On the
The county put those up.
On
The
the
three-
county roads. Yeah,
Three,
yeah,
the
that
three
they-
there, the county put up, yep.
Okay.
So just for my minutes, is this ATVs on Roman Road heading towards E?
Correct.
and it'd
If
be
they don't
Felton
come back,
also.
they had to go on E, which is not legal. Right there.
In that area.
And that's the question.
Mhm.
And I know that is the road that Nicole tried to petition to get in, so that they could
Down
go on
to
E
Man.
to Man. And it was, I believe it was turned down, because they did not open it.
Well,
So,
Chris mentioned they did do traffic count there and exceeded the number that they had put in as a limit.
okay. Okay. So,
Anything else?
just a ton of phone calls again on, water in the ditches. I visited and received 14 phone calls. And I wanna say 12 of them were water in the ditches, and everything's on that west side of E, adjoining the marsh down there. And I talked to quite a few people, and they get it, they're frustrated with the water in their ditches. And when I talked to one of them after multiple phone calls, when I brought up the fact that I did bring the DNR down there and talk to them about it, and he gave me the information that in 2019, we had a huge water year and our water tables went way up. And she said she remembers that year because they moved in 17, mowed their lawn in 18 and had no problems in 19, and ever since they haven't been able to mow their lawn because of water in the ditches. So she agreed with that, not that it made it any easier, but the ditch flows, they're all going downhill. I didn't see any low spots, and the people that called me, and I explained that to them, there's really not a lot we can do, seriously. Unfortunately, there's some vegetation and different kinds of grasses, and I did follow up and send an email to the DNR, the gentleman that I talked to, and he is going to email me that information. And originally I said he was gonna do that. When I talked to him, he was waiting for me, and I fell short on this one. I was gonna take a reading on a road for him, and I did not do that. So I did go out, Sunday afternoon, and I did take that reading, and I did give that to him, so he has that, and he'll email everything back to me, so. He was waiting on that to give me that information, and I never did give him that email, so I actually forgot about it, so, but I did do that. So. Good. Yeah.
All right, fire department.
We've had no fires, 3 ambulance calls, and 1 motor vehicle accident. We don't have any new members at this time. Training for this month, the group worked on communications. The engine will be going down to Red Clover Diesel later this month if approved tonight for repairs. We participated in Picnic at the Park and Dairy Fest Parade. We had at least 150 kids come through our stop, drop, and look in the park. For EMS, I filled out a survey for the state for free EpiPens. During COVID, they stockpiled EpiPens and now they're looking to give them away. Public education, June is School Neurosis Awareness Month, so please look at our Facebook page for more information.
Treasurer, before I find some report.
So, I don't have a financial report. All the bank accounts are reconciled. I had to redo April, all the invoices, all the checks, all the reconciliations, and then do May. That's what's taken me so long. Because of the QuickBook version, there was 2 of them on the computer, and I used the wrong one for the first meeting, so I had to redo everything. But the bank accounts are reconciled. I don't have a treasurer's report on this new computer because it was on Steve's computer, so I don't have the format to put it into. So I will use my old format that I have at home, and I'll send that to you guys tonight when I get home. But there's no abnormalities or anything. I was trying to sign into the desktop over in the office to kind of give you the numbers. But there's no changes except in the main account, so the disbursements that you approved and the cash coming in. So, but I'll send that out tonight. And we can approve it at the next meeting. In terms of clerk report, so on the ARPA grant filing, I did get a notice where they were able to disconnect the filing that was previously done because of the external verification, and so I've reclaimed our account and set it up on the clerk cell phone as the external validation point. So, so that has been done in the last month. And then I have the checks to approve in your packet. There are just a couple of notes there. We do have 2 advanced disposal bills this month because the previous month wasn't received in time for the last board meeting. We did pay the City of Marshfield ambulance contract the first half this month. I believe that was due in February or April.
February 15th.
February 15th, and it wasn't paid, so I did pay the first half. Then we did pay Clark Landscaping, and I've not been able to find a contract in the office, so you know, it's up to what you guys want to do. Just know that I don't have a contract to verify anything, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just letting you know. Yes.
Can you go off of previous bills, or do you need to know the exact numbers that I had from 3 years ago?
It's up to the board. I think the bill is fine. I'm just letting them know that I don't have a contract. That was it. So.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that I think we're gonna just rewrite something new that, I mean, we'll follow the same format, correct?
Right.
And so,
Carolyn, I have that on my computer. You want me to send it to
I
you?
probably have a
Yes.
copy in my notes also.
Yeah.
I can send it to you with it doesn't have the prices, it's just a blank one. He can fill in the prices that he had from before. You guys can both sign it and be done with it.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. I just, in the minutes, when it was like verbally approved, there was no paperwork, so I don't have anything, so.
Yeah.
But the bill looked fine.
There was one in there, because I had signed it, he had signed it, and I believe, Tanya, you were the clerk at the time, because that would
I
have been.
have that one. I just don't have the contract from when it was renewed like a year ago.
Oh, no,
When
they
he
just,
left and came
he didn't
back.
have
No,
to,
because the guy last year didn't perform or. I
right.
forget what the
He
deal
didn't
was.
sign a
And
contract.
I think when Kevin was here, was he
Yeah.
Mhm.
for that, and I think then we decided to go that route.
Well, he was just reinstated with
Yeah, so I
his
don't-
prices, so
Yeah,
you,
so I don't know that there was any.
there was 3 years ago. Well, it would be,
Yeah, but I'm saying this year,
no, there was nothing new signed for this year.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just,
that I know of, I don't think that's.
Yeah.
But that was
That's why
a
I
3-year
said, you know,
contract.
We're gonna,
Correct.
we'll do
Yeah.
another one so that
Yeah.
we get it on record, yeah.
Okay,
And, you know, we probably have it in the notes in the minutes somewhere, but I'm pretty sure it was because we had voted on a 3-year contract last year, so it was to essentially give him the next 2 years.
right.
yes.
And then at the end of that, we would.
Because I had redone it with Kevin's name on it. Do I just you want me to put your name in there?
Sure,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Yeah, I won't charge you guys much.
Thank you for that.
I don't think there's anything else on the checks and vouchers other than those couple things.
I don't know, so,
What's the design monkey?
Oh, so that was, they have the invoice up there. It's an invoice for the Fall Fest marketing from last year that just got forwarded over, so.
So it wasn't paid out of last year's, it's coming through now this year?
Yeah, but to offset that, we did have some deposits this month for Fall Fest. Like $225 that Bob had deposited, so.
And why?
somebody made a donation, was it,
Why would?
Why weren't these deposits made?
when did you make a
They
deposit?
just gave it to us. They were recent dates, like, but they were on behalf.
Donations?
Just donation, recent donations.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
I think, because
Okay,
after
all right.
spending 4 hours reading the ordinances, they're supposed to be done weekly.
Well, they're done.
If you got something.
We were doing fine until, we thought we were all done. And so anything that comes in now is very welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. So,
With all the money, we're still making Bob go to the bank.
My days.
See what we gotta do.
Thank you, Bob.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob.
Need a motion to check.
Are we through with her report?
Just on the checks, yes.
Yeah.
And then I can keep going. Can you keep going, or
You
you
wanna
guys
keep
want
going, or
to
you
approve
wanna
the
vote on the
checks
checks?
first?
Whatever you want. What do you want, Tanya?
Maybe we should approve the checks before I go on.
Okay.
I make a motion for the checks as listed.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the checks as listed. Any further discussion? If there is none, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Those against say nay. Checks approved. Okay, you continue.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so in your packets, I did give you a budget to actual, and I would say to maybe disregard the tax section up at the top, because that was not, there's some offsets to property taxes coming in like a little bit further in the report, so I'll work on trying to clean that up. I just went by the list of the budget line items that had been given to me. but I did do an annual one, so you can see what we've spent to date versus an annualized budget. Because if I split everything out monthly and Tom's trying to figure out how much grant he has, it just would be a little bit messy. So I just did an annual one so you can see where we are year to date. And so you'll see what we have left to spend. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at your sections, if you have any questions for me. Let's see, Carolyn's looking at hers. On the parts. So Carolyn, I guess I would note on the parks section, there was $14,000 for total expense. And so then you would also, there was only just one line item for parks, but we're utilizing the utilities and the deposit refunds. So you'll just need to kind of capture all of that together. Okay, so just moving on in terms of budget to actual. So I put in a couple more pages in your packet. So this one is the summary budget that was approved last year. And then I put the detailed line items that make that up. And there was a purpose for that. So when I was putting the budget into QuickBooks over the weekend, it wasn't balancing. So I went through and checked each line item, and what I found was that the expense for the constable was not put in the total calculation for expenses. So it was left out. And so if you kind of take this detailed one and you take the totals for each section, you will see what I'm trying to explain to you. So that $3,500 did not foot down to the total expenses. So we're short by the $3,500. And so basically we're spending money with a line item that we don't have any money for, I guess is what I'm telling you. So we're going to have to figure out how to compensate for not having a budget for that line item.
No,
And that's all
Under constable?
Tanya, they did not approve a line item budget. They approved a category budget.
So I understand that, but the line item budget, that's the detail behind it, which we always
They didn't have
done.
anything on the detail, is what you're saying.
The details didn't foot properly.
Okay.
That 3,500 just needs to be located by the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to make it up somewhere. So if you're looking at your line items and you think, oh, I've got this, like the details to
Yeah.
kind of help you, guide you through the year, we're gonna have to make that up somewhere.
Well, maybe there should be some cost savings from the treasurer's salary.
I was just
See,
thinking.
we're gonna get the grant and get the money back.
Oh, do you think?
So,
Should I mention it?
okay, and then, let's see. I did send off the .gov email letter request again. I did find where Patty had put one together before and it was signed, but for some reason they've not registered it, so we did send off for another one. And so we're kind of waiting for that email to come back to kind of fix some of our email problems that we're having, as well as to help with setting up on the website and then our backup drive. So I don't have any updates on the fire department grant portal. Lori and I were talking about it right before the meeting. I pulled up the website. Shouldn't take me very long. I've just been trying to prioritize things, so that I don't have any updates on that. In the last meeting, you guys asked, there was some discussion about personnel committee, and I was asked to look in our ordinances, and I could not find anything in the ordinances related to a personnel committee. I did find in our ordinances, maybe like about a highway committee or the plan commission, but there was nothing in there about a personnel committee that I was able to find. And I did look at the electronic version and I did a control find and it should have populated by personnel or, you know, anyway, did get to the section of the committees, but, there was nothing there. And that's all I have for my report, and then I was gonna move on to the number 9 agenda item, unless anybody has any questions.
I have a question. Carolyn, when you were the one that put the ad hoc committee in place, okay? They completed their project at that time. So that's where that one is at. So you guys would actually have to reinstate an ad hoc committee.
So you have, each time we wanted.
They
we
completed
had
the
to-
process.
Had to redo it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would agree with that. All right, so on the clerk and treasurer position, so as you can see, we had expenses this month from putting the ads out in a couple of the newspapers. I posted it on the state associations for clerks and treasurers separately, both positions. It's on our website. I did look at Indeed, but it was fairly costly. It was like $35 for each resume that we would want to review. So I did not post it on Indeed. So my next step would be to, ask, you know, should we put out a one-page newsletter advertising it to all of the residents in the township? At this point, I've had no inquiries. I've had one person that I spoke with, and that it was a recommendation from one of you, and she's not interested in pursuing. Line item number 10 is I do want to appoint a deputy clerk for elections, but that's elections only. So at this point, we have no one, and when I agreed to help at the end of April, I said 3 to 4 months. And so we're kind of getting to that point where we need to have a contingency plan. Part of I think in the last month's packet, I gave you a contingency plan could look like, we have an accounting firm do some of the financial pieces of the work. I'm not really, I'm kind of out of ideas. I think there's, I don't know, I think the disarray of the office right now is just a prime indicator of why nobody wants to even be here. So it's very, and I'm sorry, I'm just being transparent with you all. And I'm being very objective, but the office is in disarray. There are a lot of open-ended items that are left that I'm still helping people with tax issues. I got an earful from a resident last week about an outstanding tax issue. I called the title company, I've called the county, I've called everybody to try to help this person. I've even gone into their business to talk with them. But these are open items that have been left for months that just were not followed up on. So, kind of leads me to my next thing I wanted just to say or to recommend. We do need to, I would recommend that we resurrect the personnel handbook. I think that is an important piece to having employees. I think any business should have a personnel handbook on how they handle things. I also think that employees should be handled in the same fashion. So I was talking with Rod today. So let's just say Rod walked out at O'Reilly's without a notice. His personnel file is going to indicate he's not rehireable, right? Just like if you guys left your business. And so I think that we need to, the town board should resurrect a personnel handbook, however you do it, whether it's a committee that does it, however you do it, and that the other piece is that there is monitoring of employees' work. So Tom, for example, he monitors Pat's work. Tom knows if Pat's doing his job or not by the phone calls he's getting or not getting, right? So nobody monitors the clerk and treasurer work. And you don't know that there is work not being done until you get somebody in that's new.
Basically, because they don't know what needs to be done. That's the whole issue.
Anyway, if any of you walked into the clerk and treasurer office, one, it should not be locked down. There is a closet that is locked, and so if there's records that need to be locked away, they can be, but that office should not be locked down to the board. But if you just walked in there, you would be able to see that work's not done. Like, you can visibly look to see that filing hasn't been done. I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, ambulance contract not paid, library contract not paid, emails not being answered. I'm just explaining that, so, and I can't possibly do all of the clerk work right now. You guys knew my time commitment when you hired me, so there are gonna be things that I'm not even able to do at this point, so.
Come on, Tanya, you can do treasurer and clerk and everything, can't you?
Did you commit to 30 hours? Did you
Try
commit
it.
to 30 hours a week? You did not.
No, I did not.
Okay. So how many hours a week are you committed to right now?
I'm committed to as many as I can work. I have a full-time job. So, I just turned in a timesheet for the last month and I worked 62 hours in 1 month's time. And that's really too much for me. And we're getting ready to have 2 elections come up. So, election work hasn't even began. Well, it has began and I've not responded yet. So, just saying, you don't have any interest, you have no one that wants these jobs. And I think that there has to be oversight over these 2 positions, just like there is over Pat's job. They're not elected positions, so that's all I have to say on that.
Did we have a personnel handbook
I
at
was
one
just gonna
time?
say, did-
We did, but the attorney advised to get rid of it because it was so outdated. And we did start a new one, and, God, I even hate to say this, it's probably in a pile in the office, because we had gotten a suggestion. John, I think you worked on it actually with finance, and you had made recommendations, and Jessica was actually just starting to type it up. So she did have everything there and had it started, so
And what was it called?
it was for employee handbook. That's what it was.
Oh.
Was there a committee?
No, that one, not this one.
Was
Pardon?
there a committee that was doing that?
No, what we did was have the board, well, actually, the finance committee had started it, okay? And then he handed it back to the board and said, you guys can do it. And we had actually a recommendation from the attorney. He had sent Wausau's employee handbook, which is too big for the town of McMillan, okay? So we kind of picked through that one, and we picked through, I think Jessica had the one from the clinic, and try to combine them, and she had a good start on it, so where it ended up, I don't know. And then the plan was, at that time, get it together, have the board review it, make corrections, changes, whatever at the board level, go through so many pages each meeting, whatever the case may be, and get it corrected. So that was the plan, but it hasn't went anywhere yet, so.
I'm sure that I have the version that I submitted to the board from, I only saw the Wausau one, so I made edits, significant edits, I poured it down.
That was all with that. All those papers were in there.
So I'm sure that I have that electronically if we want to use that as the jumping off point.
Well, at least let us look at it and see, you know, where you were with it, and
This was
so we can work on it.
2 years ago, 3?
Pardon?
2 years ago, 3?
2. Well, going on 2, so just starting the second.
Be nice if we could get a hold of a copy of a handbook from a smaller township than,
There's a ton of them out there.
Do
I
we
was gonna
have
say, there's gotta
any
be.
of ours that we used to
You
have?
guys-
I know
Where is
it's
our
outdated,
old
but
one?
can we go?
It was in the
off of that?
office. I probably have a copy at the house that I made,
See
so.
if you have one,
Okay.
and see if that we can at least look at it and see.
Well,
To get us.
when I took it to Lee and had him look at that, he said, this is so outdated, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because it was from
I'm sure it gives you
1999.
a format. It gives you a format. If
Well, the
you-
format you can get right off of Wisconsin Towns Association. That's where Jessica was starting to work on it. So, and it's the same format we had.
Well, I hate to date ourselves, but 99's not that long ago.
Yeah, it is for something like that. The laws have changed so terrible bad, you know, it's, yeah. There's a lot of
City
changes that,
The City of Wausau handbook is on here, that's all that's in the personnel folder that I have,
Yeah, that's gonna have a lot of boilerplate on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Village of Stratford might be a good one, I might even have theirs, but anyway, it's just a recommendation.
there's a lot of them out there. There's small ones, small townships like ours, that they do have handbooks that would, you could almost copy them and they'd work good, so.
And then anything personal of our, for our township would be added, and,
Mhm.
worked in there.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier just to edit what somebody else had.
Okay, so my next agenda item is deputy clerk, so I would, like to ask the board to appoint, Mary Jane Swenson to be a deputy clerk for elections, to help you get through the election work for the August and November election at a rate of $20 an hour.
I'll make that motion
How
to
much?
appoint Mary
20.
Jane Swanson as chief for the election.
She'll be deputy clerk, and she'll have to go through all the clerk training.
Yeah,
Deputy clerk is paid for by the clerk. That is already in our,
well, it's
Paid for
there
by the
unless the board agrees and we have done that. We did that with you. We did that where we.
not for a deputy clerk. A deputy clerk is hired under the clerk.
I know, but anybody that, but we did
The
that
board is
with
not
Patty. It was with Patty. When she came in as deputy clerk for
Mhm.
Norm Comer, we agreed to pay because we needed her so desperately
Mhm.
at that point, that the board agreed to pay. And if that's what we need to do, we can do that. We have that ability to do that.
We have to pass that.
We just have to,
Just
we
say-
have to do
right.
it. Mhm. If you can.
I guess if they would, I'm guessing that you would have to personally write a check to them then? So then you'd have to do all of the employee workforce development and all that kind of stuff for that too then? I mean, is that
That would be
My
her
guess,
responsibility,
right?
yes.
Yes.
right?
So,
So,
Normally, what would happen, Tanya, what happened when you paid Patty that time? You just wrote her out a check, wasn't it? Or did she had filled in as deputy clerk for you at one point? How did that work?
I think she did it for a week when I was on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I was required to do at that point, but.
I think when she wasn't working and the deputy clerk was, then the wages came out of the salary that's set aside for the clerk. I think that's how we did it, if I'm not mistaken. Could go back and look, actually.
Okay, so it's your choice. I'm not going to do the elections. I will be here as service clerk and to train and mentor and guide. I will not pay a deputy clerk. I'm happy to resign if that's what you guys want, but I'm just telling you what I can and can't do. So if you'd like to have a deputy clerk for your elections, I have found someone that will do the elections, will take the clerk training, and will run the elections for the August and November election. Your choice.
I just, in my opinion, I think it's easier for her not to have to pay and do all that extra work. If we can actually pay her. And then that's not saying that it's coming out of that same lump sum, I'm guessing, but that to me would make sense.
The
I
one
mean,
thing
we
that,
need somebody, we really do.
I
I
know.
mean, it's not a matter
I mean,
of choice at this point.
I agree, and if we can make it easier on her, then that's my hope. We just pay that $20 and she can help us get through this time.
The $20 per hour will be coming out of the clerk line item though? Oh, totally.
Yeah.
yeah, so Rod asked that we stay within the hours for what the clerk would normally work. And, that was the one thing that was asked, so.
And we pay her.
Yes.
Are you on salary or you get paid by the hour, Tanya?
Hourly.
Okay, then it would work.
Okay, so the motion was to
hire a deputy clerk at $20 an hour
Yeah,
for the elections.
For elections.
and Mary Jane has agreed to go and do that.
I second that.
I have I have a motion and a second to bring Mary Jane on as a deputy clerk.
And the salary?
Of $20 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we need added to that? Tanya,
No.
any further discussion? Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. We have a new deputy clerk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now moving into your stuff a little bit, Tom. Your part-time highway employee.
So, the part-time highway employee, I think we got a snag on the amount of money we're gonna pay the part-time highway employee. From what I've seen, we were paying different prices for different positions. The plow truck was one, and general maintenance was another. I'm guessing I make the recommendation, and I like to just talk about this, I'm gonna throw an amount out there and let's just settle on an amount, $18 to $20 for help, for a highway person to come in and help out per hour.
What was Gene getting?
I believe he was 18-ish, yes.
What does Pat get an hour, 21? Plus $2 an hour
Plus.
for retirement.
For retirement.
2150.
You gotta go 20. 19 or 20. You got anybody with experience?
Dave said that he would come in and help Pat out if you could get enough notice ahead of time that Pat lays this out and says, okay, I'm gonna do this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, can you come and help me? And Dave
I heard Dave was gonna work for nothing.
He may, yes.
I have up to this point.
I'm working it.
He just got a new tractor, so he's not working for
He's
nothing.
not working for nothing. He's gotta pay for the damn tractor.
So, that's my proposal.
Mhm.
I guess I'll make a recommendation so we can get a second and maybe talk about it. I make a recommendation that we pay the part-time highway employee $20 an hour for helping Pat.
I'll second it.
No motion, a second to hire someone for $20 an hour to help Pat. Any further discussion?
Minimum 1 hour.
Hmm?
Remember your minimum 1 hour?
Yeah, it would be minimum 1 hour. I mean, if he comes in to run Pat from here to the car shop and back, minimum of an hour. If it takes 15 minutes, it should be minimum of an hour. I agree with that, yes.
I think what your motion should be is all part-time help, including Gene, if he's gonna be back plowing. So,
Yeah, I agree.
Good
because
idea.
Gene has been there for a long time already. And I don't think he'll be real happy if Dave walks in making 20 and Gene is still sitting at 18 and he's, on call for plowing.
Right.
So,
Yep.
So
Okay.
so we have the first motion to hire Dave. If you'd like to do a second motion, then you can.
All right. You wanna do it, Tom?
Or do you want to amend the motion just to say all part-time help?
Well, we first have to employ Dave.
Yes, I'm gonna get Dave on. So, I make a motion.
You already made a motion.
I do
Amend.
have a motion on the floor for part-time employee. Okay, so we had a second on that. So, should I amend this? Is this what I'm hearing? You guys are agreeing with all part-time employees, including Gene then, or is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
because I think you just do the one motion, right?
It'll be two motions. Correct. One motion for this and one motion to hire Dave.
How
Yes.
about to hire Dave Swinson at a rate of $20 per hour as a part-time highway employee, minimum 1 hour, and adjust all highway employees' wages, at part-time wages to $20.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Any further discussion?
Did you get a second?
I had Seaford and Opitz.
Since there's no further discussion, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Welcome aboard, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Clear some time.
A lot of potholes down here on this road.
Fire department grants, Lori?
Okay, the AED grant that you guys gave me permission to apply for, we did get it, but they have modified it. They've had enough interest in it that they had to modify it, that they will only pay for a portion. So what they did is they are giving us $300 per AED that we purchase, and they sent me 2 quotes. So, with that being said, we don't have to touch this if we don't want to. We can just leave it go. Because the original one was they were going to fully fund the AEDs and any stuff with it. But they had such a huge response that they decided they didn't want to turn people away. So they broke it down where they're partially funding the AEDs.
How much was an AED?
Well, they gave me 2 quotes. One is for a Life Pack. It's a Life Pack CR2 AED. With the $350 off, it's $1,500. And then they gave me another one for a Hertz and Samaritan Pad AED. And with the $350 off, that's $945.
350 or 300 or what?
$350 off
That's the grant? Or
per
that's what-
AED, yes.
That's what they're.
They're gonna give us, yeah, that out of
So they're
1,500.
So they're discounting it $350 is what they're doing.
That's quite a change.
It's a huge change. That's why I said we can just leave this, go to the wayside, because
So
we
what
don't
are
have
you-
money budgeted for these.
Okay.
We have AED at the
Correct.
fire department?
Vehicle 8, Engine 10, Rescue 1, and Ladder 1 all have AEDs in them. And then there's a couple of our EMTs out in the community who have them also. I just thought it'd be a good idea to get some around here,
Yeah.
but since they changed it, I'm gonna recommend we just let this one go to the wayside. Don't do anything with it. The next one is the EMS Funding Assistance Grant. We get $3,800 plus 5 cents per capita. So if I got it figured out right, the EMS group would get close to $4,500 from the state for this. This is not a cost sharing grant. This is a grant where we just apply for it and money comes our way.
Is this the VAP grants?
Yep.
Is that the one that's open in June or the one that closed in May? There was one grant that ended in May, right?
This one is still open.
Okay, so that was.
Yep, this one is still open. So I just need, if you guys say yes to this, I just need a couple signatures from Tommy. I can scan it all in and get it sent off. And we would use this grant for training. That would give us enough money to send a couple people to EMT school and get certified.
So you're just wanting to apply for that one?
I have everything all filled out. I'm just waiting for the yes to hit the submit button and it goes off.
Okay.
And you're saying this one, you just apply for it and then they just give
They
you?
just get it.
give you
There's
money?
no.
There's no
You
nothing.
got Carnegie with free money.
I just
Yes,
I just gotta fill out paperwork, have time to sign it, submit it, and it's done. They came out with another flex grant for the EMS group. This one, there's $12 million set aside for it. The application is due July 11th at 4 p.m. And there's a whole array of stuff we can do here. For EMS response vehicles, for a ATV, we can go up to $50,000, we can request. Training, we can go up to $15,000. Staffing, $50,000. So there's a lot of different categories. But because we did this one for training, I can't use training for this one. This has to be something different.
So could we apply for the money for engine 10?
No, cannot, because we do not use it as an EMS vehicle. And it does not include repairs to current existing,
It self-identifies as an EMS vehicle.
but it doesn't, I understand, but it doesn't cover repairs to existing vehicles.
Yeah.
That-
So what is it within that that you would be applying for?
A Lucas device,
Huh?
a Lucas device. That's chest, mechanical chest compressions. That's what we would apply for.
Can you only apply for one thing, or can we ask for multiple things? Can we ask for AEDs also?
I can, hang on. Oh, let's see here. I may request up to $30,000 in total equipment. And this Lucas is gonna take pretty close to that.
Wonder if the engine repair shop would take an EMS UTV on trade.
No. I don't think that's how it's gonna work. And there again, it's just a matter of filling out all the paperwork and getting it sent in, because they have $2 million to disperse throughout the state for EMS stuff. So my reading of it, this is another one where I fill out what I need, put the quote in there, and it,
When are they gonna award this?
I think it's in August.
Very quickly,
What's that?
they're awarding it very quickly.
Yes, they are.
And they're just sending the money out.
Yep. It just opened up on the 13th here to fill out. Closes on the 11th, and the award notification is in August of 2022. So this is a quick one.
I make a recommendation, or a motion that we accept the EMS assistance grant that the fire department has applied for.
There's two of them.
There's two of them.
So you're making a motion for the fire department to apply for the EMS funding assistant grant and the EMS flex grant to apply for them, right?
Two. That's both of them.
What were we gonna use the flex grant for?
Our Lucas device.
What is a Lucas device?
It's a mechanical chest compression device.
And how much is that?
At last,
630.
yeah, they're pricey.
Is it mobile, or does it?
No, it's mobile. It can sit on our vehicle aid when we get to a cardiac arrest where we need to do CPR. There's a suction cup that goes on the chest, the device goes around them, and that'll do the compressions for us so we can concentrate on other things.
Oh,
Like making sure we get the breaths in, making sure when Marshall gets there, there's somebody help them like spike IV bags and get all their equipment ready to go. So it kind of essentially frees up one person
yeah.
to help with other things.
Neat.
Battery operated, I assume.
Rechargeable. And there's a glitch with the, oh, you guys didn't finish that one, sorry.
Right.
My bad.
I'll second his motion.
Motion is second to approve the fire department applying for those two grants. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Let's to approve the
Okay.
approve.
And the DNR grant for 2023. That is due July 1st. Everybody's having issues getting into the application process with Adobe Reader. DNR is aware of it. As soon as they get it figured out, we can get that one. I can get that one sent to you guys.
When's the due date?
July 1st. They've been having issues with their Adobe Reader stuff. I can't open it on any computer I have. I can't open it on.
And how much is that grant potential?
That's a 50/50 grant. And for what we have figured out, our portion for the township would just be shy of $5,000.
And for what?
It would be for radios and pagers again,
Okay.
some newer pants and jackets, and then Adam had an idea of something, but with that stuff there, it's just shy of 5,000.
We've done that one or two, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and when the fire department puts their yearly budget together, we budget for this DNR grant also. For our
So
portion.
you need a motion or approval to proceed with that one as well.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to
One second.
proceed with the DNR grant for 2023.
A motion and a second to proceed forward with the DNR grant for 2023. Any further discussion?
You said you had the other 50% already budgeted?
What, yeah, we put our budget together for the fire department for our workshops. We budget that right into our
Okay.
yearly budget.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have that one.
Thank you.
I got an agenda item on here for the website, I don't know, John, if you wanna talk about it, but I think run us moving forward.
Yeah, so I think the last I knew, I don't remember, we didn't, there was no motion or anything to move my website to townofmcmillan.gov once it's. So anyways, I made a website, it's called welcometomcmillan.com. I took everything that was on our current website, put it onto my website, so all of the content is the same. It's just an updated version, so it's mobile responsive, so if you look at it on your cell phone, it looks nice. If you look at our current website, you have to scroll left and right and up and down and stuff. So I guess my vision is to take my website, it's a WordPress website, so I can just pick it up and put it on townofmcmillan.gov once we get that. And then I would just have my welcome to McMillan.com redirect to townofmcmillan.gov. And then I'm willing to maintain the town website and make updates. You know, I'm not a website designer. I made my website after watching probably 2 YouTube videos. But there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that can help you do that kind of thing. It's not super duper difficult. You know, I was able to, WordPress is a really common website platform. And so like there's a lot of resources to figure out how to do stuff. I've been using this one like editor thing that I've become pretty comfortable using. I don't expect that our websites to be anything fancy. It's just to communicate to the public, to the residents, to the vendors, to whoever, information that they need to know. So that's my recommendation. My recommendation would also include moving away from Gold Rush Hosting, I think, is our current host. Let's see. So we paid, in 2021, we paid $451.99 to Gold Rush Hosting. It doesn't say what those items are for, but the host that I found, I don't remember what it was, if it was DreamHost or Bluehost, they can accept .gov websites. Some web hosts can't. My current web host for welcome to McMillan.com is namecheap.com, because I did all this stuff with my personal money, because I wanted to show people what a functional website could be, but I didn't want to invest a bunch of money into it. So Namecheap can't accept .gov domains, so whichever one it was, Bluehost or DreamHost, I chatted with them and they can accept .gov websites, and the hosting per year was gonna be like 10% of that, like less than $40 probably. So I guess that's where I'm at. That's the website. We just need to wait until. So we are going after a federal level, top level domain. We could have went after a state one, which would have been, I think, .wi.gov. I feel like having less stuff in the URL is easier. TownofBigMill.gov, I think it sounds really good, really easy, no mistakes. So once we get the notification from that, then I think we can move forward with all of that.
What are the odds though that nationwide there's not another town with Millen.gov?
I already checked. That URL was available, so we were the first ones to request it. So, and it sounds pretty easy to get this stuff. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of. It sounds like they're trying to make it easy for election security. Is that right?
Yeah.
So there's two various grants up to $600 each to implement these website changes and implement email addresses. One of the things that we would need to do is currently we don't pay. I don't know what the situation is with the email currently. We would be paying for Microsoft 365 license, one person for the town clerk, maybe two if the town treasurer wants an email. The nice thing about that, so that would be probably $6 a month. But the nice thing is it comes with backup included, so it's always backed up constantly. So there's no concern about the one thing that had all the data that's lost or corrupted. Now what? It's not going to happen because it's backed up in Microsoft, and I'm sure that they have redundancy built in and stuff. So that's something that we'll be doing once as a requirement of getting the .gov domain. You are required to contract with one of these email providers, like Google or Microsoft or something. So I think that that's beneficial.
So we're gonna have not only the township website, but we'll also have a clerk email and a treasurer email?
Possibly a treasurer email. I don't know that that's I mean, $6 a month isn't that big of a deal. You know, on an annual basis, that's whatever, $72 a year. And I'm not quite sure how necessary they are to have a .gov domain email.
If you look at the invoices that you have right now, the Visa bill, the Microsoft
365?
365 just renewed for $100. So we're already paying for it.
And I think you can put 5 users on there, am I correct? I believe so.
So some of this stuff will have to, you know,
So this was already set up, so the town's already been paying for this for.
Well, I'm just thinking out loud here, you know, do you have like the town chairman and supervisor emails in that same .gov realm?
We never had .gov before, so
Yeah,
this
I don't
one's
know.
all new to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know what their thoughts or their desires or their expectations are. I don't think that's clear yet, but water's really muddy.
so
They just said that everybody's moving to the .gov website, and that's all. But if we, you know, I guess it'd be an extra $6 a month for every email you add to it.
I think so, but we would need to get some
Which email's
clarity.
free.
We would
I was
need
gonna
to-
say, why would you need that even? Because if you are no longer a supervisor, you sure as hell don't need an email account for the township. And you can just close it out on Google or Gmail. So,
Yeah,
It just makes it intuitively easy for any residents to contact the supervisor, because if you say it's Town of McMillan Supervisor 1, Town of McMillan Supervisor 2,
not really.
email doesn't change it.
Well, if you want to do it that way, yeah.
You
Where it
could.
would, yeah,
You could.
and,
And then whoever comes into office, they change the password.
Yeah.
Yada, yada.
and then they don't look at it anyway, so it don't matter.
The
They
other-
look at their own emails. That's what they do.
The other piece to that is there is a grant, that we'll apply for. I don't know if you guys, if I have to have a motion to apply for the grant or not, but, there is a grant that we can apply for the conversion of this, the .gov account, so.
and I don't know, we currently own, I imagine, I currently own the townofmcmillan.com domain address. I would imagine that if we, whatever life is left on that, we can have that redirect to the new one and stuff. I don't know, I mean, domains are whatever, $20, $30 a year. So we could always, if people, if we think that it's gonna be difficult for people to transition into the .gov and they're always just gonna put the .com, we could keep that so we don't lose any people. We don't wanna have people saying, how do I get there? But, I think that we'll have some time to kind of figure that stuff out.
So this grant you're talking about, is there a dollar value that you
Thinking
apply?
it's around 600.
So let's just cross brush, everybody gets $600. Or up to $600, or?
Yeah, I haven't looked at all the details. I don't know if it's reimbursable based on what you spend or if it's just here is $600, so. that's a piece of it. Okay. So, so John, are you just wanting to wait until we get the .gov email to, are we asking for a motion to convert to your website?
I'm happy to make a motion to, commit to, replacing the current website with the Welcome to McMillan website once the .gov is issued to us. And, do you happen to have that posting place that I had told you previously? That's in the, it should be in the letter, I think. Because we had to identify, in the letter, we had to identify where our post was gonna be. Or maybe we just had to identify that we had posting lined up.
So they give you the website address, but you have to pick a hosting place?
Yeah, so like,
So we're gonna give you an airplane, you gotta find an airport to park it.
yeah, pretty much.
I don't know, I'm just trying to rationalize it, I can't get my mind around that.
That was a good one.
Well, and because the government doesn't want to be responsible for the hosting, they just want, but they're keeping real tight control over like the .gov domain names, which is good, but, yeah, but I don't know.
So the cost of our hangar is gonna be $40 a year. Right.
What?
The cost of the hangar.
Oh,
Cost of the hangar.
Yeah, hopefully.
Now, who's going to own this domain? It's gonna be Town of McMillan
I'm
or
sorry.
you?
I'm sorry, what?
Who's going to own this? The Town of McMillan or you?
The town of McMillan.
Okay.
I'm willing
Yeah, it
to
would.
give my entire website to the town of McMillan.
Well, you took the entire website and put it on another. So it
Yeah,
was the Town of McMillan's to begin with
Well,
that you took and revamped. So I wanna know who is going to own this? The Town of McMillan or you?
He just said.
That's why I said, I'm just asking.
yeah, I took the public information available to the public and I put it in a format that I thought was aesthetically pleasing. That's correct. And I'm willing to give my packaged aesthetically pleasing information back to the town at no charge.
Which you did know after we commissioned that meeting last year too, so.
Yeah. Yes.
So do we need a motion motion to do anything at this point
Yeah.
until we
I think
know
to
more?
commit to
He
John's
made the
website.
motion.
Yeah,
You need to finish your motion.
So,
I don't have the host readily available to tell you right now, but
okay, let's see.
I'm looking, but if you're getting ready to make a motion, I don't.
So who's processing the .gov website then? That's
So I sent in a letter to get the DocGov email,
to
to
who?
reserve the domain.
Who'd that go to?
I
United States government?
something, yep. And Rodney signed it, and I don't know if John signed it, but yeah, so the letter has been sent to reserve the domain.
Okay.
You sent a physical letter? Oh, there was an email address.
Yeah, so I sent the physical and then I also emailed it.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, so my motion is to, once we are issued the townofmcmillan.gov domain name, to replace our current website, to decommission that one and utilize the website that is currently living at welcometomcmillan.com, at which point I will transfer ownership to the town of McMillan.
So the website name will be townofmcmillan.gov?
Yep.
So there's really two sites, right? We have Town of McMillan, and then we have Welcome to Town of McMillan.
Well, welcome to McMillan.com is mine. And I have it very clearly at the top. If you go there at the top, it says this isn't the official website. That's also why I haven't moved forward on the online form to reserve the pavilion. That's one thing that I think that residents would really be able to utilize. But because mine's not the official one, I'm not putting it on there. I have a form that you can sign up to receive the meeting agendas sent to your email address. And I'm doing that in a personal capacity. And I also have a thing, if you want to submit complaints about roads, that I can just forward it on to the roads people.
You're gonna need a whole nother website.
I've only gotten one complaint, so, but I don't get that much.
Got a question. When you, with Pavilion, to reserve that, the only way that it's actually reserved is if it's paid for. So how is that gonna work?
Can I just interrupt just a second? I'd like to second that motion.
Oh, sorry.
Now we can, perfect.
Well, we're not there yet.
He did, he made his
You're
motion.
not for the pavilion, right?
Yeah, I think that we need to determine that.
Well, the content of the site will be determined later.
Yeah.
So right now, we just need to get the site. That's step one. Once we get the site, the plane, now we gotta find the airport to park it.
Then we gotta get the people on. So, yeah, and
Find out that.
as far as the reservations of the pavilion, I don't know how that's supposed to work. You know, if somebody calls and says, I'd like to reserve the pavilion for Saturday, and then if somebody sent in a request at midnight, you know, before them, and they both got it at 8 a.m., is it just a race of who gets here with money? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
we
pretty
can-
much
we can
what it's
solve-
been.
We can solve that tonight, let's do
Yeah.
that for another night.
Yeah.
It's 8:35, let's keep moving.
It's gotta be paid for before it can be
So you got a
reserved.
motion and a second.
I have a wordy motion. In
Yeah,
a second.
sorry.
Well, that's okay, but I'm not gonna repeat all that.
I have motion to commit the town to transfer the Welcome to McMillan website that John built using the public records data currently on the town of McMillan website.
And that'll be to transfer to the .gov website. once we
When
get it,
available.
When it's available.
I like how you guys make motions, 6 people do it and keep adding.
Gotta get ready.
there is none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay.
I think maybe I'll abstain. Yeah, I'm not,
Anyone want to abstain?
I'm gonna abstain, I don't see why not. I'm not personally profiting from any of this stuff.
Now we're on to pavilion refunds. Tanya or Mrs. Opitz, whichever you,
We should really put this at the beginning of the meeting, because you've already approved the checks. So I will move this up, I guess, next meeting, but here are the pavilion rental checks that will be refunded
What's
tonight.
the asterisk on that checklist for Todd Colbert? I see the name of an asterisk, I didn't see it.
Because there was already a Todd Colbeck in QuickBooks, but it wasn't in the customer area, so I just had to add something
To make
next
it unique.
to make it unique, yes. So I guess we should get a motion to fund that.
Oh, well, do I need to go through there? I think Dennis don't leave without your check tonight.
Okay, stick around.
There's Dennis, Frank, Heidi Fisher, Kristen Durant, Melissa Coco, Todd Colbeck. Those are all the refunds for the pavilion. Current,
I take it they all came back clean and
perfect,
everything was good?
perfect. They're- Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
Second.
I'll second that.
Just a point, when they tell them where they can park, they should not park on both sides of the road.
Yeah, in fact, I almost stopped there the other day. Because they
Because
weren't worked on
that
both
Saturday,
sides. Yes.
yeah, there was a party of 5. They're from other, most of them are from out of the town. They thought our pavilion was very nice.
So when I came back, they were mine, so.
But they were parked on both sides of the road.
Are they supposed to just park on the north side?
Because
That's
And
good
the
to know.
overflows in the parking
because of
lot
the fire
here.
department can't get through.
Yeah.
That's the purpose.
Well, I'm not worried about the fire department, any farmer going through with equipment.
Yeah, can't get through.
And they cannot park in the fire department parking lot. That is reserved for emergency vehicles only.
That sign is up, right?
Yes.
The parking signs are up too. The parking signs are also up. It's just,
Is there a no parking sign on the south side of the road down here?
No, they're on
Yes.
the side.
They're on both sides.
They are?
But if they read the contract, I think in the contract it says they can park on the north side of the road. Am I correct? Dorothy?
I haven't seen the contract.
I think for the pavilion contract, I thought it said in there that they could park
The
on the north
signs,
side.
the signs are only on the north side,
Well,
I
that,
think. They're only on the north side.
and they're
This is
supposed
no
to be able to
parking.
park on the,
On-
on the north side. That's the south side.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's all, I think that's where the signs are though.
Because there's no light poles on the south side. That's why there's no
Yeah,
signs there.
Right.
But I think in the contract it says they can park on the north side.
Mm.
So,
Oh, well, maybe that's where
Well,
your
that's a little
confusion is.
confusing.
mhm.
I sent everybody down here. I said
That-
walk.
You did good.
that
I
works
said
the
walk.
best.
Yeah,
You said the
no,
old
this was a big
folder here.
graduation.
Go down here, yeah.
I said, okay.
Yeah, that's where they should be.
Okay.
It's normally never been an issue. I mean, if you have somebody stop in, if you do see it, and just tell them you need to get them off
Yeah.
that side, and they'll move them.
So is there a second? Who is the second? Was it Bob? Tom?
any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye. Those against say nay.
I'd like to abstain again.
Anybody want to abstain?
Oh, because Melissa's my wife.
Okay.
I'm financially benefiting.
You wrote the check?
Feds concerns? Tanya, I'll let you kind of start off with that. You did a little more contacting than I did.
Oh.
What do we-
Okay. So,
oh,
in your packet, and I did email out to you guys the, what we received from the Wisconsin Extension, UW Extension Office. the fences in agricultural areas that references Chapter 90 of the state statute. And the purpose behind doing this research is we did receive the letter, our letter was received around April 19th. But initially there had been some contact with the Christensens and a previous clerk, maybe the beginning of the year, because I do have an email from the clerk to the Christensens asking for more information. So not sure if there's been communication prior to that, but the communication that I have started end of January 2022. And then the letter that was followed up was received April 19th. And I'm not sure, I don't know if this went to Rod, but somehow it got to me. But basically the letter is in your packets where the Christensens have paid for some fencing on between their property and another property, and they're asking for town reimbursement or town, some type of action by the town. So the total cost was $5,000. And as I read the fact sheet, just kind of tell you the process, per my understanding, and I can kind of take you to what page to look at. So the bottom of page 5, it talks about resolving disputes and recovering cost. And it really urges the neighbors to try to resolve fence disputes between themselves. And then if they cannot resolve the disputes between themselves, they should contact their town supervisors, who are empowered as fence viewers. And so Rodney and I spoke about the need for having 2 fence viewers from the board, just kind of be appointed for that job. But basically, if they can't resolve the disputes, then these 2 fence viewers would go out and look at the problem, talk to both of the neighbors, and then come up with then they would provide a written notice of what their recommendation is for resolving the dispute. So that goes into page 6. Says if under the example of neighbor A and neighbor B cannot agree on a partition fence, and either neighbor may seek help from the town supervisors to resolve using the following process. So they contact the supervisors. At least 2 will act as fence viewers. Fence viewers give 8 days written notice to each neighbor at the time when they will go to the property. The statute provides that notice is given as a summons or registered mail. That just keeps going on. That would be kept in the clerk's records. Letter C, fence viewers first observe the situation and decide if a fence is required or existing fence is adequate, and then talks about giving action. I don't know, I'm not going to read the whole document to you, but in essence, if the fence viewers deem that there needs to be repairs, then they would make that recommendation. And then letter F at the bottom of page 6 kind of refers to neighbor A would demand payment from neighbor B, and then if neighbor B doesn't pay for it within a month, then there's interest charges. And then further, that last paragraph, if neighbor B does not make timely payments, neighbor A may obtain payment from the town treasury for the cost and fees neighbor A incurred in doing neighbor B's portion. The town recovers the amount of cost and fees by placing a lien on neighbor B's land, and if neighbor B does not pay the town, this may be collected as a special charge on the property tax bill per section 90.11. So
My question is, what happens when they don't pay the property tax bill?
They're delinquent.
I can't answer that. But
He's gonna let his taxes go delinquent.
so anyway, so that's just really, that's the facts of how to handle it. You've got a copy of the letter. I'm not going to read the letter to you, but since Rodney asked me to kind of present on this, I would just say that I don't know if any prior board member had two fence viewers went out and looked at this prior to a bill coming to the table.
Dave did and Carolyn did, I believe, at one point, didn't you?
I was never considered a viewer, but I was contacted in it, yes. But it never went that far. I'm aware
Got it resolved.
They had the viewers, yeah. So,
Well, according to the letter, it never got resolved. The rotar issue?
rotor,
Yeah.
with the rotor, with you.
Yeah, it
Dave.
says, I'm very disappointed that the McMillan Town Board
And I
did
thought
nothing
that
20
it
years
had
ago.
been filed with the clerk, and it wasn't, the letter should have been sent to the clerk, and it wasn't. I just
Yeah.
talked to Judy here.
Yeah, so he mentions that in the last paragraph, that it didn't get resolved.
It's been about 2 or 3 times. yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
It's been 2 or 3 times. we've been made this year. This is
Oh, no.
This is nothing, this was, that was the south side, this is the north side. But the neighbors on both north, on the north and the south side, neither of which have cattle, have always complied. The only person who didn't comply was a person who bought the land from the original owner, and he essentially told us he didn't have cattle and he wasn't gonna do anything about it. We did pursue it with the township, and somewhere between our complaining and whatever, between the clerk and the fence viewers and whatever, the whole thing just never, this was like 25 years ago. Never came to any kind of fruition, even though everybody on the board said, oh, this is the process exactly as Tanya described it. And having over 100 head of beef cattle and making hay and everything else, that was one battle we chose not to deal with, because we already had to provide an adequate fence, and arguing with Mr. Roder was useless. And so we did not pursue that any further. We didn't take it back to the township. Tanya couldn't, or Donna couldn't find the letter, and she was insinuating that she'd never gotten one from Dave, and so it was a ball game between the two of them, and we just said, I'm not getting involved, we'll just take care of it, we have a fence. Enough arguments for that particular time in our life, so we let that one drop.
I think at the point in time that happened, I think, didn't Vince come out, Vince Weber?
I was probably not home, I don't remember.
Yeah, because I didn't go all home. And I think Vince was the other supervisor involved in that.
And Vince was involved with other issues, but that was later with us when we built our house on the back of the property, it had nothing to do with this fence issue. So I'm not sure that we were even aware that anybody had come out to do a fence viewing, but apparently Donna had intimated that Dave was involved, because she said, I'll have Dave write a letter, and then when I came back to ask about the letter, she said I never got one, so it was just sort of swept under the rug, or forgotten about, or dropped, and we let it drop. We didn't pursue it any further.
That was then, and this is now.
Right.
So now moving forward, I feel that we need to have 2 fence watchers.
Viewers,
Viewers.
inspectors, whatever.
It's my recommendation to the board that we take Tom and Mrs. Opitz and make them our viewers.
Carolyn looks real thrilled.
Did you meet with John?
Okay.
See what it's all about.
Who were you?
Okay, so
I
I
want
have a motion.
videotaper
Is there a
slogging through the
second?
fields.
I'll second it.
Okay.
So, can I have your name, please?
My name?
Yes.
I'm the Judy Christensen. that
You're
wrote
Judy
that letter.
Christensen. Okay, so I personally don't have an issue doing this. It states, I read the information, and it states that we have to give you notice that we're coming out,
Mhm.
okay? And then we have, I can't remember what the time allotted to get back to you.
Mhm.
If you would be willing to give us a little time so I can read up on this stuff and make sure I know what I'm doing when I go there, I would appreciate that.
Read up on what?
All the rules of
Those
fencing and, I
statutes.
mean, I went through this stuff and I got it, I just wanna know, I don't wanna treat anybody wrong.
It's
And I just
been,
wanna go there and,
we were pursuing this with the neighbor starting,
and I got this with the Lao, was it? That had the,
Herbie now.
her law.
right, had it originally, and
sold
now
it
it's
to somebody
Dalkey.
else.
Okay,
And
and,
over the years, Herb Lau never had cattle back there, we did, but he
Mhm.
acknowledged his half of the fence responsibility.
right,
And it's one of those weird situations where you're supposed to walk up to your fence, and my part is the right and his part is the left,
correct.
except on both sides of our property, that is not how it is. And Herb Lau, when we first moved there, my husband went and talked with Mr. Lau, and he said, I want to improve the fence on the right half and the left half. The whole fence was like literally falling down, and we were gonna have cattle, so my husband wanted to fix the fence, replace it, whatever. And so he was going to start from the midpoint and go back to Cattle Drive Lane, and Herb said, no, that's my part, your part is from E to the midpoint. And the same thing happened when you turn around and go on the other side, Herb Lau, or Mr. Doring, Herb Doring. He was right, left, right, it was backwards. And so, but neither, Herb Doring never had any cattle, but yet he was responsible for his half. And when his half by the fence, by the woods was falling down, he just said, well, if it's falling down and you've been running a temporary wire and our posts are falling into your wire, we've got to get out there and fix it. And so they did. And the only person there, that on the south side of the property, there are two owners. Herb Doring has from Cattle Drive Lane to the midpoint, and from the midpoint to the road used to be Jacob DeGraff. Jacob DeGraff sold that front 40, and Scott Roeder bought it. And the way the old dividing of who has what part of the fence worked out, we had both ends by the roads, and those two gentlemen had the middle part. And Herb took care of his part over the years, and Scott Roeder was the only one who said, I'm not going to fix Jacob DeGraff's fence that's falling down, that's your problem. And we had already been temporarily doing something, and at that point in our farming life, it was just one more battle we chose not to have, so we took care of ourselves.
Well,
So we're around most of the time, so if you just give us a date and a time, we'll be there.
so you're prepared to spend some time with us?
Oh, absolutely. That's not an issue.
Okay. 'Cause it's,
I mean, any questions you would have, or, I mean, the location of the fence is very obvious.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's just, it's basically following the rules. There was a part in here about, obviously, Lau had it and Dalkey got it, and there was a part in here about, I don't know if Dalkey came to the township to see if there was any agreement or not, which there should be on file.
I'm sorry.
If there's any agreement
No.
that you and Lau had made on the fence,
Oh, no, that was-
it's all just handshake.
It was
It
over.
was always historically, that's the way it is.
Okay.
There's law,
There's no
full-time farmer and Herb Doring.
Okay,
both were there, established farms before we came
okay.
in between the two of them.
It's all in state
Okay.
statutes,
And
isn't
when
it?
speaking to
That's
them
how
about
it's
the
here,
fence
state
falling
statute.
down,
No, state statute.
okay,
That's what I
we'll
thought.
take care of our
It's got teeth.
responsibility.
It's got teeth.
Some time
Mhm.
to go through this.
Let's keep going.
Okay. A motion, a second to vote to accept Carolyn Edwards and Tom Seaver to fence viewers.
Could you repeat who the fence viewers will be? Okay.
Tom and Carolyn, there's state statutes on all that.
You're right.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Congratulations.
I am a fence viewer.
You're the fence viewer.
90.01.
That's the fence?
Moving on to new business, liquor licenses.
So under liquor licenses, I would just like to ask the board, let me just give you, an update. So, both holders of licenses have their renewal applications. I've received one of them back, the other one should be coming back this week, and then I have to put it in the paper for a period of time. So I'm just asking
For what?
Liquor license.
liquor licenses, put it in the paper to see if there's any one that contests the board issuing the licenses.
Is this for the Fall Fest or what is it?
No,
This is for Belvedere and for,
Resource
This is-
recovery.
Resource Recovery.
Oh,
So it's just their annual liquor license. They have to be renewed by June 30th. And so, just asking for the board's permission to renew these licenses, by June 30th unless I get any, anyone contesting it, then we'll have to bring that back. Unless you would like to have a meeting around June 30th and we can approve them then.
No.
It's fine either way. I'm just letting you know, I don't have all the necessary documents back and I have not been able to go through the process, so it's your choice on what
So
you'd
you
like
still
to do.
have to vote?
That's not right.
Yeah, so it'll go in the
Does it have
paper
to be
next
published?
week. It'll be published in the paper next week, and then just issued by the 30th.
if there's any problem with liquor companies or sales tax, anything like that, they'll be pulled anyway. So you can approve them with,
I make the motion that we accept.
I second.
Pending no,
Exactly, pending
I'll put that in the minutes.
Does CA for Dairy have one?
Yeah.
Does CA for Creamery have one?
No.
They sell wine there?
I thought they were.
I don't know.
I don't know now.
You might want to call them, Tanya, and check
Yeah.
with them.
you can stop in.
Well, I thought somebody had said they were selling wine,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Oh,
I don't know.
If they are, it's probably done illegally, because I'm guessing they don't have a license.
I don't know. Okay.
okay.
I
and
remember ever
same
going
thing
through.
for item number 17, the operator's
Board
licenses.
member?
Do we need, did we vote on that?
Sorry.
I'll second Tom's motion, by the way.
I had Carolyn.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry.
A motion a second to accept the liquor licenses, as long as everything passes through. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Now we move on to operator's license.
You don't approve them. That's hiring employees, you don't approve them.
The operator's licenses are for the bartenders,
Right?
so they have to be issued.
They have to be issued, but they take the class, and then they bring in the paperwork to get a license.
Fall Fest?
The town doesn't approve them.
I think what we have approved in the past is paying for the licenses for the
No,
bartenders, correct?
this is for theirs.
This is
not-
for their
This is
bars.
not-
This is for their
I've just
establishment.
always in the
Okay.
past got approval to issue the operator's licenses, so
Yes.
I understand that I have to check that they have taken the class, I understand that all of the rules regarding that, but in the past, I've asked the board for approval to issue them. Whether I have to or not, I'm not sure, but I've always asked. so.
Okay.
So that goes with the liquor license for those two establishments?
Well, the people serving.
The people serving.
They're
so
bartenders,
yeah,
they're
the bartenders,
waitresses,
if they're
whatever.
in-
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the operator licenses that you need.
Second?
A motion a second to approve, to issue the operator's licenses. No further discussion? If there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Annual weight limit permits.
This came up when we were having a discussion about the material code.
Exactly, yeah.
And what do we wanna do? If anything? I don't know, I thought more about it now.
So did I.
I don't know what we wanna do.
This is actually a can of worms,
Yes, it
because
is.
you're gonna help some people and you're gonna really upset some other people.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
I can tell you what we're doing right now. I have a couple of businesses where basically they are, basically I'm giving them the annual weight permit because it's several months and it's districts to go certain places and do certain things. So we're already kind of doing
But are
it.
these people that
We
have
do-
had their roads finished since they were established? And that is what we're doing this?
Well, we do it for all the septic haulers, all the septic haulers have, right?
You don't have to,
Don't have to do
you
that.
don't have to do
Garbage
those
trucks,
because
no.
they're covered.
Myers is one of
There are
them. He
those
asked
that
for
are
his.
exempt.
Right.
Myers asked for his, and he's got his. There's one working on Hill's project over there that he's got one. I gave him like a month with his. The gentleman that's working on, is it Ruby over, not Ruby.
Red Hawk?
Right.
He gets one, it's roughly like a month long with his. He goes month by month, so I keep an eye on him. So we're kind of already doing it, if they request it, it's not per job, and normally they've been very good at keeping an eye on them. They don't do cross runs of the township trying to do another person's job and going down our roads. They take the counties and, so that's been working so far with everybody, it's passed.
I have a question with that though. When you get damage on the road and you have an annual permit for one person to go down that road, who's gonna get the blame for it?
We actually talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Does it come back to the homeowner that he's running to, or does it go to the trucker that's doing the trucking?
And what if it's a different truck that does it, but this is the only guy that has the
Or
permit?
farmer that's
Yeah.
taking
Right.
heavy equipment down now, because the farms around here are getting so big.
Mm-hmm.
The equipment is getting so big. I mean,
The farmers, they have to have their.
It's IOH,
Yes.
IOH. That's their,
Yeah.
that's
I
the
mean, it's
county,
us.
that's through the county.
I mean, the thing is, ultimately, it's up
weight
to
of the
us to
vehicle,
catch
the
them,
weight of the vehicle.
the person that did the damage. I mean, because
Right.
somebody could fly through here and damage the road, and you can't go back and blame the guy that has the permit.
No.
And the odds of catching that person are not very good.
A lot of the stuff, when they start heavily using the road though, a lot of times there is,
You can see it.
yeah, because there's usually construction. in
If
the
there's
area.
repeated traffic, but if you get one load that comes through that does the damage, you're not gonna know it.
No, not like the springtime of the year when you have the wheels on, but then I'm not issuing any for that time either.
So are you doing this on,
Individual person,
individual
place, right?
Yes,
Each individual permit.
application and
yes.
that I just think you keep it as.
Case by case.
I do.
The thing is that sometimes they
At least we have
do
some.
it anyway, you know, whether, and they know, a lot of them know
They know.
that they're not supposed to be on those roads.
But if they're, but the thing is, if the county or state catches them, they
They-
have
they-
nothing to, I mean, that's the way I try to explain to them. We're not charging them for the permits. I mean, a lot of times I go out to the job site, we do it over the internet. I mean, whatever makes them happy getting it done, we get it done. We don't, there's no fee involved. So, I mean,
It's worth their time and effort to
Yes.
do it.
And
But
follow the
it's, but
rules.
it's also, on the- refresh my memory on the permit, it actually has the residence name and address,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
So it's
yes.
by job.
Yeah,
and they will, the ones that are a little bit more by the month, some of them like Myers and stuff, he has down that it's to go to residence houses, I mean,
well, he needs to indicate exactly when.
well, you're not going to, I mean, some of the stuff, if somebody
If you
asks
do it
for a,
monthly, you're not gonna do that.
no, but he also has it stated there, but the thing is, if he gets caught going, I
Then
mean,
he's gonna
it's not a
pay that
resident,
time.
I mean, obviously, he's got a bill of lading of where it's going, or a bill of where the material's going, and if he's coming back from the pile where they dumped it, I mean, he's got ways to prove that he did what he did, and so do the rest of them, I mean, it's.
Well, I think without just designating totally which roads, how are you gonna do that? For,
And we're gonna give
For the
everybody a
year.
training of everything.
huh?
We're gonna give everybody a training of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody. And I don't think that's right. I think we have to have,
Some
we have to
control.
have we have to know where people are going. And it was brought up where, okay, somebody gets a call on Friday and somebody wants a load of gravel dropped off at their house, and they can't get a hold of somebody, so that they can drop that. And I, being in that business, I get exactly what they're saying, because those people call up the last minute, oh, I'm gonna be around this weekend, I want that gravel so I can work, but they can't get that permit to drop it. That's where the issue comes up, is this last minute stuff. Not enough time to plan, and who should be planning this? The truckers are gonna be the ones that get stopped by the cops, and they will get the ticket, not the homeowner.
Nope.
But should the homeowner have to apply for this a day or two ahead of time so that you can get the permit? So is that fair?
Yeah, I've
Because
had that done. I
I
also
do
had
it all the
to
time myself. I
Yes.
have a day coming up, and I can do something, and I ask if I can get the material, and I call around until somebody can drop it off at my place.
Well, the forecast change, you know, the weather is,
All that
that's
stuff.
conducive, and
So-
now you wanna hurry.
So I get that too.
And it's done both ways too. I have homeowners that they get the permit for the guy to bring it in because he knows there's not enough time for the trucker to get the permit and stuff to it, so they get it done, so they're not in trouble with their neighbors or anybody calls on it. They can get their material in unhassled. So it's all, I mean,
So the question is, do we change something right now if it's actually working? Do you feel it's working the way it is?
I feel it's working. The only thing that I would like to see better, but I think with the website and stuff that'll get better, is the online stuff needs to get, we need to be able to get that more condensed, so that can be a shorter period of time. It had been working pretty good. Once in a while, there's a glitch in the
Matrix.
yes. Because a lot of them like to, they have their secretary send it off, and like I say, it's all over the gamut, then I get, you know,
And that is getting better.
yes.
So,
Do you have more than one person that they can call?
Well, basically, right now, it ends up on me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always been your job.
Yeah,
Your position.
yes.
Rod, you've got the ability to just, they can make a phone call, email it to you, you sign it, and you email it back to them. You've got that at home, that you can do that, can't you?
Correct.
Okay.
But we usually try to run it through, we try to usually run it through the clerk, and the reason that we do that is so that it doesn't get lost and it doesn't get, a he said, she said thing, well, if I don't get it, sometimes you don't get stuff right away. I'm having that issue once in a while, emails and stuff that shows up later, texts and stuff, so. And that way, the clerk always has a copy of it then when it's done, so that if somebody comes back.
put in the
with questions, 'cause
file.
we have had the county question on some of them, after the fact, through zoning and stuff. They've asked questions if people have been getting their permits.
Mm-hmm.
So the clerk's office does need to have that.
Because I always just kept copies of them too.
Well, I think maybe you should just continue the way you are for the time being until somebody has some brilliant idea and you get the website up.
Do you get a lot of people that say that they're not getting it in time, a permit in time?
Not really. I mean, once in a while. The thing is like the other night you heard that, and I did it with the fire when we had to do burning permits too. Get it early. Don't wait. I mean, if you don't have to wait till the last moment, don't wait till the last moment. I mean, I do everything I can do. I mean, I've had a couple of them already swing down by O'Reilly's because they go, well, I don't have a computer. I said, well, I come through here. I says, put it on my dash. I'll sign it. You can pick it up. I'll text you back when I got it signed if I'm not there. And I mean, I do that several times too. So, I mean, we do basically everything we do to get this stuff in their hands. And it's a last minute on a Friday or a Monday morning first thing. You know, 7:30 in the morning, swing by a job site so they can get their trucks in.
Yeah, I guess I would recommend we leave it the way it is. We've got the website that hopefully is gonna be up and running.
If we can, you know,
We can make the website more friendly.
Mobile friendly where people can.
And even on that website, I'm willing to put my number down if they can't get a hold of you, that they can contact me and I can get the information out to them too, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, fine. We just got to, when
Just
just
to
the
help.
springtime of the year, we have to stay. I mean, because they hound us on the
Be-
springtime of the year with the weight limits.
Yep,
We
absolutely.
have to stay, I mean,
Yep.
Chairman has
And
this.
they're gonna push you as far as they can push you.
So,
Yeah.
okay with
Okay.
that?
And when the weather gets like tomorrow, 90 degrees, I mean, I don't want them on chip sealed at
I
90
agree.
degrees. They're,
Yep.
if it's a cold morning, get in there, get it out.
Okay.
Engine repairs, Adam?
Mhm.
Up here?
Yeah. go
Yeah.
ahead,
Alright. Looking to have the repairs done to engine 10, to get the foam pump back operational. Total I got from Red Power last month was $26,563.45. And we have $29,000 in the budget we had planned for it.
Is that estimate, or is that a firm price, or?
It says it's only good for the 15 days prior to them giving it, that was May 11th. So it may change slightly, that's why we had a little buffer in there. And I put the money away during budget time, so on for changes.
Is that the only place you can get it from?
Red Power, yeah. The only ones that are authorized to work on Pierce apparatus.
So you had it in the budget,
I do.
okay? Okay, so when is this when will this happen?
As soon as you tell me I can do it, I'm gonna call tomorrow, if you approve it tonight.
Do we need a motion if there's expense in the budget already? Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I was told that
Purchase order,
$4,000 had to be approved by the board, so.
And in that, the proposal, the prices you got back, so that was, they're thinking they're gonna be able to cover everything, they took the machine and they looked at it?
Yeah, the old one's already out,
Okay,
so half the work's already been done
okay,
and paid for, so we just gotta get the new one in, get the new plumbing in, and then they gotta test it, make sure it works, and so rough turnaround about a week. But it all depends on how soon they get the parts, 'cause the saved parts are, let's see, some parts may have long lead times, so. As of right now, when I talked to them in May, all the parts were available, they just weren't showing how long they were gonna be available for.
So, once we would decide, then they would have to order those parts.
Correct.
We wouldn't send the truck there
Yeah,
until they
but
got
that
the
one-
parts.
I didn't have them order anything, cause that's available as soon as they start
Yeah.
ordering, so. I didn't wanna order anything without approval.
This is replacing the original foam.
Yeah, so the old foam system failed, it had leaks in all the valves were leaky and sticking, some of the seals, and it was obsolete, they didn't have parts, we tried to get it repaired. That was our first choice, what we tried to do, but it was obsolete, so they couldn't repair it. So the only option was to put something newer in it, with the plan on moving it from engine 10, once we replace engine 10, to the next vehicle, to save money on the next one.
Oh, you can move this to a
Yes.
different. Oh,
So the
okay,
plan-
that's pretty nice.
For what I came up with, Red Power Diesel was something that's new enough within our budget that is also not gonna be obsolete in the next 10 years.
And what do you suppose the useful life of something like this will last for another 20 years then, probably? I mean, because
The foam pump, yeah,
Yeah.
25 years.
And this was necessary for, if I remember right, it was extra important for, like car batteries, right? For like,
Not just car batteries, it's,
but like electric car batteries
Yeah.
specifically, like. they
yeah, those
burn-
smother,
they
yeah,
burn
smother as you can. Smother with water, like something, like say with your gasoline fires, if you just spray water on it, you're gonna push it. You wanna coat it with foam to smother it. So it's an aid in fighting fires, or like grass fires, you can spray the foam over the area so it doesn't burn the unburned area.
So you're all set to go if we approve this?
Yep.
Okay.
I make a motion that we let them bring engine, what was this?
Engine 10,
Engine 10 in for the phone repairs.
phone system here, replacement.
A second / replacement.
So a motion and second to send engine 10 out for repairs. Any further discussion?
I guess I just wanted to mention that I'm struggling with this one because we've done without it for so long. You know, I know it sounds like it would be advantageous for, you know, vehicle fires and stuff, but like, are there instances where where the fire has gotten to a catastrophic situation because we didn't have this phone? Did you remember?
I don't know. I mean, the biggest advantage I see of having this phone system is that I'm not guaranteed to have 5 guys show up for a fire call in the middle of the day. Maybe get 2 to 3. So that's the driver, one to man the hose, and the officer to run the scene. And yes, we have made this, but there's other calls going in the area. I may not get all the help I want. Mavis is there for help, but it's not a guarantee. So it's more convenience for us to be able to fight the fire with less people.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to bring that up, you know, it's, a lot of money, and I guess it kind of feels like not entirely a necessity. I mean, you know, it feels like we could put fires out with, you know, and I understand that we can, put fires out quicker and stuff, you know, with this stuff, but like, that's why we have insurance, you know, if my car starts on fire and it has to get burnt up because we don't have foam, then I'll go deal with the insurance. However, you know, if I've got my baby in there and
With the individual,
I
pinned
can't get it out.
pinned in the vehicle, you don't know the
it
circumstances.
needs to be put out immediately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's not just those types of situations, there's others.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay.
So I have one more item that is part of another item. I needed a couple of bank transfers. So, I guess this would go under maybe the financial report. I need to transfer $713.50 from the main checking to the fire department savings for the brought fry money that was deposited.
Oh, yeah.
And then transfer $225 from the general checking to the fall festival, for those 2 donation checks that we received. And then the final one was $800 from the general checking to the pavilion, to the parks account for the, pavilion checks.
The new check.
And who does that?
So all of the deposits go into the main checking account and then just get kind of shifted around after the fact?
That's not normally how it's done. I think at the last meeting, when I took all the checks to Bob to deposit, I gave him the main check and the deposit book, because I haven't been here in several years and didn't think about all the different accounts, and so we put them all into the main account, and we just need to move those to the right accounts.
Okay.
Usually, we would put them in the right accounts to begin
Oh.
with.
Okay.
I think that for some time that they have gone into the general.
They went into the
account
general.
Put in,
And then
in their,
transferred.
and then they're
Okay.
At the end of the
transferred,
year
yes.
is when they did all the transfers. They kept track of all donations and they kept track of
Wow.
deposits. And then they transferred it all, so.
Yeah. I would suggest that we don't hang on to those checks for that long, for that money,
I don't
for
think,
the Brock prize. No, I think
Yeah, well,
that we should be more on top of that,
To be deposited.
yes.
I make the motion to transfer from the general fund the 3 checks aforementioned to the right places,
And
There
second,
it counts.
accounts.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to, what was the term on it again? Move the money from
from the general checking fund to the appropriate accounts, and I'm specifying them in here.
Okay.
So the fire department and, yeah.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Approved. Anything else, Tanya? Meeting adjourned.
I have a question before you adjourn. You have a picnic coming up the end of next month. How are you gonna finance it? Because we had talked about taking that out of the park fund.
That's why I'm not sure, I don't know.
Yeah, we did, because we had, I don't know what they had in there in the budget, but we took it out of the budget and tried to put it in highway. Correct, Tom?
Yes.
And then decided that we would take it out of the pavilion fund when it came time for the picnic. So, what do you want me to do as part of the committee?
This here says that there's $2,500 budgeted for that, right? Am I looking at that right?
There's what, who?
On page 4, it says that there's, page 4 of the budget to actual,
It says you're short $2,500 in
No.
under,
because
or no, what?
the first column is how much we spent.
I gotta look
The
at
middle
that.
column is the budget, and
I'll
then.
go up and see what he said.
And so that money has been spent.
No,
I just-
Not
For
spent.
highways.
Huh?
No, there's a budget of 2,500.
Oh,
Okay, so then we took that out of there. wasn't it?
2-20.
That's why it's in
Thank
there.
you very much,
We took
Casey.
it out of there and put it into highway.
No,
Yeah.
this is.
No, the budget amount is 2,500.
This is,
Nothing's been
this
spent.
is, this is how
Well,
much.
no, I know we didn't spend anything on it. We took that money out of there and put that into highway.
This negative says how much you guys did by all three of them.
Do we have time to take care of this in the next meeting?
And I think there's probably.
Yeah,
When
it's
you
not an
have-
agenda.
This is not an agenda item.
it's not an agenda item.
It's not an agenda item either.
Want to put this on the agenda for next month so we know where we're at?
We have time, yeah.
This
Okay,
says there's
that's why I brought it up.
This says there's 2,500.
I have those when we talked about it.
I
No,
have
I
the
mean,
memory.
no,
I
just-
wrote it down, I know.
I have those notes.
I got it.
Oh, yeah, but see, that's why I'm trying to figure out.
Can we make a motion to adjourn?
But we're not adjourned yet.
Right, we don't adjourn. You need to make a motion to make a call for it.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
A motion and a second to adjourn.
Directly north
All
of
those
you?
in favor say
Yeah.
aye.
According to-
Against say nay. Ayes have it, we're adjourned.
Lori, did you need my signature?
I do, when there's a motion,
There was a tractor,
We're,
mower on the back.
Just for the rest of
Well,
the-
yeah, and all the rest, what are you doing?
Well, I think, well, we're gonna work with whatever it takes to get this
Dorothy, picnic's July 31st, right?
I wasn't part
Was
of
there a
all
reason
this, so I don't
did we
know
only
what
spend
Yeah, so that's why I was
you can send it out, I wish you could do that, but yeah, you don't have to.
Years.
Obviously,
I'm not sure. I don't know. Yes, then you have to cut it out for you.
Yeah, sure, we're gonna-
Okay, and
You know,
there's some, yeah. Sometimes they don't like the like charter and say, oh, you get
Thanks, Doc. I know I got Harry at the end.
Yeah, stuff like that, but like, you know, I go through little kids, and so like, I mean, the baby school.
My guess is about 50%. 50%. There you go. That did not.
You know what,
My car. Yeah, I know.